Evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome. Welcome to all those in person and those joining by Zoom tonight. I'd like to first start off with recognizing visitors. Do we have any visitors this evening? Yes, sir.
Mike B.
Mike?
Yeah, I got here a couple of years ago, but I lost.
Okay, well, don't stay away so long. Great, glad to have you here. Any other visitors? Any visitors online? So let's go ahead and do introductions. We can start here with, to my left with Alex, and then first name, call sign.
Alex, Q and November 4th, back.
John, KX4QC. So Win, W4WIN.
David, KG4LHP. Armin, WA1UQO.
N4DOB, Dan.
Kathleen, K5HTV.
KG4CIK.
Lauren, W4LEW.
John, KC4WT.
Doug, KK4LSE.
Emily, WB4EM1.
Bob, N4ICT.
Tom, KG4BIZ.
Steve, W4SB. Bruce, W4BRU.
Mike, K4RKO.
Tom, K4CMK.
We can jump to the back row.
Dave, WB4DES.
Michael, KN4VA.
Scott, N1TZT.
Warren, W4WFJ.
Tom, KJ4WU.
Grace, planning on taking the technician license test next month.
Great.
Awesome.
Rob, KC4NYK.
Judy, N4JVI.
Bill, N4WLC.
Mike, KQ4UL.
Tom, KI4DH. Bill, technician, haven't been online yet, but I don't recall my call.
Okay, we'll forgive you this time, but next time we'll roll.
And WB0L.
I'm Daryl, WW4F. And on the line, you.
Okay, let's go to the online people. We have Bob, W4RTH. We have Chevy, KK4OWU. Dave, KO4VEM, Gene, K4GNE, Nora, KNPOZ, Patrick, K4PKB, sorry, Patrick, Ron, W4HV. That's all.
Thank you, Ken. So if you haven't already signed in, please do so before you leave, either during break time or as at the conclusion of tonight's meeting. With our newsletter, we distribute the past meeting minutes. Are there any changes or any corrections to the meeting minutes? If not, do I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes? So moved. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Very good, thank you. The next would be the treasurer's report.
Okay, we started the month with a balance of $13,574.88. We had one basically from the auction or the equipment we had for sale last month, $12 came in. We had these horrible reoccurring expenses. Our PO box cost us $250 a year. Had to buy some more ink so I could print off the stuff. So that's $95.39. And we had the Hartford insurance, our liability insurance of $425. So that took us down to $12,816.49. I do have, I think it's four new members. Richard Arnold, KR4NIA technician. Grace Baum, No license. Dave Corran, W1QLW, general. Patrick Lynn, KR4NJW, a general. Have a motion to accept these numbers? Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I have, I'll catch it.
Next would be a school update. Do we have anything to report on the school coming up?
No, we sent information out on the, seminar to all the clubs. We haven't seen anybody signing up yet, so we're gonna push that a bit harder, I think. See what's going on. So we'll have tactic general for that, and we got like 5 or 6. Seminars we're gonna do, and Dave's gonna do one more, right? Talk about VNA. Yeah, he's gonna do a VNA, how to use VNA and, network analyzers, and how to use, so, antenna.
He was almost visibly kind of snapped after that first answer.
That's it.
Good, thank you. The Dstar repeater?
And just one quick comment, this past week, our hosting, government entity that gives us an internet connection apparently changed the rule in their firewall and didn't tell us. And, for, about 4 days, Jim Bates and I were pulling our hair out. Well, he doesn't have much left and I'm getting there, but, he finally figured it out and did a workaround, but it was very strange. We couldn't, some of us could connect to their server to make changes that we needed to make. Sometimes we couldn't, sometimes we could. Anyway, he figured it out, he fixed it, and it's all working great again. But there was, I said to somebody, you know, in the old days, repeaters were real simple. It was a radio, a receiver, and a transmitter, and an antenna, and we know how to fix that stuff. Now, to run a repeater, you got to be an IT genius, which I'm not. And if you don't have an IT volunteer on your repeater crew, you're up the creek with repeaters because it's all about the internet now. But we have help and it's all working.
Thanks to Jim.
Yes, thanks to Jim.
And thank you also. It starts with you.
I just
call Lifeline.
got him on speed dial. That's what I do. Yeah.
Remote station status?
Well, we had a couple of blips, but
But back up, nothing serious, basically, sometimes when the software comes up, it goes, radio? What radio? I don't see any radio. And basically you take the software down, bring it right back up and, oh, there it is.
we had 1 or 2 blips in which I think the internet connection here went out. And because I couldn't get on any other way and finally cleared up. But I understand the internet power in the one area is a bit dicey anyway, so.
Good. Then, the Richmond Amateur Radio Club net activity status. You know, we have nets. You'll see on our calendar, we have a 6 meter, 80 meter, 2 meter, Newham's net. Any news, anything to report, Tom?
We couldn't do an 80-meter net Monday night. We had a little bit of light.
Okay, I understand.
But other than that, with the, our 10-meter net is alive and well. 6-meter sideband net is alive, and we couldn't do 6-meter FM Thursday night.
And the new ham net as usual is, we have between 10 and 12, but the 15 was the high one. I think.
That's a good turnout.
Yes.
And I will also invite anybody that's interested. We have a Dowser net that meets on 7234 Monday through Friday at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 a.m. And we got guys here. Steve's on with me. And we got guys in Ohio and New Jersey and Illinois and New York and all kinds of places.
Yeah, that's usually where you find us on the net. You don't find us out in the field, CFT activities.
No.
You'll find us at home on the net.
On the radio.
Yeah. Right. Next, is there any, the only, what I have here is old business is, the 2026 nominating committee. Is anything to report this month?
We have, reached out and we have a list that we will present next month.
Great.
So our work is almost done.
Right. Very good.
Good, very
And
good.
next month, people can put in nominations for the floor as well as what we report, so.
That's good. Good, thank you for that work.
Yep.
I don't think there's any new business.
I got one thing
Okay.
to, yeah. Rats reached out to me and said, hey, is it okay if we post about your club meetings on our website? And I said, yes, and we'll reciprocate. So one of the things, in case you didn't read your email from the group, we were down last night or yesterday, all day. Name chief took a cooling hit. All their coolers all went out in their data center out in Phoenix. And apparently, it took a while to get it to be able to come back up, and they brought them up one at a time. And apparently the heat in that room was substantial. They said they had to get 3 of them before they could really start any of the actual servers to come back up. So it was an all-day affair, approximately 3 o'clock in the morning. They got that all back and working. Took out our RARC.net emails were gone because that's part of their service to us. So I didn't get to post their meeting. Their meeting is this 8/21 next Friday. It's a Zoom meeting. Jim Wilson is going to do a presentation on the Magic Band. If you don't know which band that is, turn in, get on Zoom, and you'll discover what band they're talking about. That is the Magic Band. Just wanted to pass that along that their meeting is next Friday at 7:30.
7:30.
7:30. Via Zoom. So
Everybody's welcome.
please attend.
Be a member.
And as I say, we're working real close with the RAS people. They've been very nice to us and like to reciprocate. So next month I will have it on our website unless it fails again.
It's really easy to get to rats.net and look for meetings.
Anything else, Judy?
I was coaching.
Oh, you were coaching him. Okay.
How do I ever stop it?
So moving on to announcements. I have a few announcements. I'll start. First, Silent Key. Robert Butch Gottschalk passed away on July 17th. Butch, would attend meetings here, and he also would go to McDonald's, and he sometimes see him at the board meeting, club board meeting. So Butch passed away, and Mike Bakovic, W8NNX, passed away in June. So there was two areas, and I don't think I mentioned Wayne Scarberry passed K9WB. He was in the Rats Club, I believe. That was his passing, and Dan is helping the family out with the sale of some of his gear. So you'll see that advertised, and so you might be looking for that. Donated items. We have 2 estates, as I mentioned in Groups IO, 2 estates that 2 women, one her father passed and one husband passed. So they donated this, and just happy that it gets in the hands of somebody that would be interested in having it and may use it. And I would, we're asking for donations. We're counting on your donations. Your donations help us support our reserve funds. So please keep that in mind. Take it home, try it out, make sure everything is fine, and then consider a fair donation amount and get that to Ken. If it doesn't get taken tonight, it's going to electronic recycling. So we're not bringing it back and forth. We bring it in, take a look, make a decision, and when we load it up, it won't be coming back. All right, well. Let's see, club activity. we have a reservation at, Dolce Vita. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Dolce Vita.
For September 23rd. That's a Wednesday at 11:30. And I asked for the banquet room in the back. I think it would seat up to 40, but I expect, typically we get together around lunch will be 18, 20, hopefully. So put that in your calendar, September 23rd. Dolce Vita. Seems like a lot of people know that restaurant. I get a lot of.
Right off Charter Colony.
Charter Colony, yeah, 2401 Charter, Colony Crossing Place. That's also in the group I announced, but I'll send out a reminder. I also have to say congratulations to Kathleen.
Yeah.
I think the radio day was well attended, and I saw that, and a lot of folks come out, and and thanks to all those supporting you, and there was a great turnout.
Thank you, everyone. Couldn't have done it without you.
And it was not only a radio day, but it was also a special event. So you were a special event station. So that was
And there's more to come.
nicely done.
Could I add lib to that?
Yes, please.
Thanks to Kathleen, our spokesman, the curator and manager there and stuff. There might be a possibility we could hold process there. I'll just leave it at that. We've got a lot of work to do to figure it out and see if board goes through.
Uh-huh. Okay.
When you say hold what?
Frost Fest. We haven't done Frost Fest for a long time.
Yes.
Can I get a count of how many people would be interested so that I can? I can let, you're interested. You want to ask how many? We got
A good 20 some, yeah, good 20 some people here. That's for sure.
This will be a joint scratch RIOC.
No, he wanted to know, he's interested in
Just giving the membership of RARC and RAC, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, but Bruce had a very important question.
Is it the combination of RIRC?
It should be.
Just like last, yeah.
It's Rats will pick it up, but we'd like to go see it. We miss it. We all miss it. There were 32 hands that went up. We
We
missed.
gotta work out the
this.
details of
Right.
who gets the money coming from the front door and then the
And how-
tables that we will cost for people that set up tables. They did let me know they could be have hours each of the tables. And they said they've actually had as many as 200 tables there, so.
Wow.
A little bit cramped, but I think it could easily be pulled off, so I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
Gotta get a special on site here.
Yeah. Great. Yep. I hope that works out. So the next thing I have on my list of badges, we have a few more badges to hand out to Warren. Thanks to Rob Thomas. In his design, in his, model.
Now you got identity, right?
So that caught us up to the first production run. We had a few misses. So that's all caught up, but I did pick up another name, Tom tonight. Would like a badge, but we'll probably have another one later, this year. It's, we don't want to overload Rob. We're so grateful for his time, producing these. So we'll collect a few more names and have a batch later. The next thing is I have is some business cards. One of the items, we discussed at our board meeting, club publicity. And we wanted to have each of our members have a business card related to the club. And you can put your name on the back of the card. They can scan the QR code, go right to our website. So we have 500 cards. So there's enough cards for each of you to take 5 to 10 cards. And as you go to amateur radio events or any events, and somebody's interested in amateur radio, you can handle a business card.
There on that little table.
No, pass the cards around. I'll take 5 or 10 now. There's no need for me to keep 500 cards in cabinet. I'd like for y'all to take them. Thank you. Are there any other announcements? I think that's all the announcements out there. Are there any show and tell?
Well, kind of a show and tell. At the board meeting, I told people we're going to have a Linux presentation next month. And somebody said, well, can I put Linux on my computer? And I said, why certainly. But it's kind of best if you have somebody else with you when you do it the first time. So maybe we'll have, if there's any interest, send me a line on the group's IO. We'll have an install fest somewhere, perhaps like Mickey D's or something of the sort. It won't take very long, but at least get you started with it. How expensive is Linux? Free. And it works a treat on old computers that are not up to specs for Windows 11. And as you know, Windows 10, the support has finished, unless you pay extra, and then it'll finish next year for good. For good? Well, anybody. Anyway, so what do you do with the old computer that works perfectly well? Linux might be just a fine fit. There's lots of ham radio stuff for it. There's day-to-day stuff like Office and the like that you may not recognize the name on the Office package, but it's all Microsoft file compatible. So there's no reason why you shouldn't continue with it.
It's also Macintosh file compatible.
It is, and a few other things too.
Yes.
I had something pointed out to me today. I don't know if anybody does slow scan TV here, but for the Windows world, there's a suite of programs starting MM this and that, MMTV for the slow scan. Suite of programs has not been updated now for many years. It's closed source. It will never be updated because nobody else has the rights to do anything with that source. The nice thing about Linux is that it is open source. If you've written a wonderful piece of software and you become, unfortunately, a silent key, other people can pick it up and continue with it and keep it updated and make it much better than you even ever dreamed of. So there's free and there are some built-in advantages too. Disadvantages, mostly it's new. So we'll get around that with an install fest. Drop me a line if anybody wants to give it a go.
I do.
Yeah, Dave? Not to compete with Linux for those that love Windows. Those old computers, don't throw them out because you can take a program called Rufus and you actually can install Windows 11 and get around that with TPM until Windows decides that all the people are using Rufus. But basically, you download Rufus and download the Microsoft 11 image and watch a YouTube video, you put it in there, boom. And to say these old computers, people are throwing out, I gather them up. I got 3 or 4. And then I go back, donate them out because they still run. They're i5s, 2.4 gigahertz, whatever. You can make use of these. And I like your idea with one sound also. Yeah.
Rufus is going to be that horrible chip that Windows 11 goes looking for. There used to be workarounds like the Rufus and have the chip on a dongle, I'm told now that the newer, releases of the Windows 11, want to see that chip actually in the box as original equipment and, otherwise they want to play ball.
I'm waiting for Willie to catch my laptop.
Oh, they probably already have in the next update. And then, no, they probably will have the next update. It'll probably be bricked like half the other computers. In
Yeah,
there.
well, then I'll put it back on the chat. Anyway, you know, next time.
We look forward to next month's program. There was a members request, you know, and examples of some of the most popular, Linux ham radio applications. So we'll have, John share his favorites, and there was a surplus PC that we used for the Dstar station, and he was able to put Linux on that. So we'll have a little bit of a raffle or a drawing, maybe a drawing is the right word. And so if anybody's interested, you know, come to the meeting, have some tickets or numbers are pulled, and maybe you'll be the lucky winner. Little small PC, modular PC setup with Linux.
And please keep in mind that anyone who buys 100 tickets has no more chance of winning than anyone who buys simply one. It's the house always wins.
If there's not anything else, then do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved. Second? All in favor? Then let's take a 10-minute break and we'll come back, and Michael Miller has the program with us.
2 things before we get started. Somebody picked up the Alinco radio. I have the DR-150 manual. It's yours. Whoever got the Alinco radio.
Is this coming through?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, okay, now, well, did you get it? Yeah.
Put that manual there. The second thing, Nora was asking the name of the restaurant. The name is Dolce Vita, DOLCEVITA, Dolce Vita, and that's September 23rd at 11:30 a.m. I'll turn it over to Mike.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad to be here. And today, last month, we went over the repeater and the information on what Dstar is and how to get yourself set up and all of that. And today, we're going to discuss the how to connect to Dstar. Okay, so the presentation is kind of set up in two ways, one with a radio and one without a radio, because there are really two avenues that you can use. So one of the things that I would, the premise tonight is getting connected to Dstar, even though I'm going to use YSF here in a little while to show that cross-moding using an OpenSpot 4, but we're not talking about specifically DMR or any of the other digital modes. There are a variety of methods to do this, okay?
Okay, well, thanks a lot for coming back, and I'm gonna need another radio and put an antenna on the roof, if I'm gonna do anything on the
Okay.
handheld with 8 watts.
This is just a quick,
ground level, so that's just not gonna work.
this is just a quick reminder to let you know that almost all the digital modes, you have to register. Right? So Dstar is one of those modes you have to register to be able to get onto the Dstar repeater or use it across the digital modes. DMR is the same way, but YSF you don't. Your call sign is you're ready to go with your call sign on YSF. So what I would say is if you don't have a DMR ID, you don't have a Dstar, you haven't registered your ID with Dstar, you should just go ahead and do it. That way you're done and it's all ready to go. I know for at least DMR, can't remember for Dstar, but you will have to send them a copy of your license. So Dstar you don't, I think, but DMR you do. When you register with DMR, you do have to send them a copy of your license. So I encourage you to go ahead and get started. So the first item we're gonna talk about is that you've got the local repeater, right? So if you have a radio, you can connect to the local repeater. The local repeater, the B module, which is the UHF module, is usually connected to 30 Charlie. Is that Hunter? It's like, I thought somebody was running across.
Like your presentation?
Yeah, you have 30 Charlie, that's usually connected unless there's a meeting going on. So the second one, that we'll talk about is your traditional hotspot that a lot of people are familiar with. So that is using a Raspberry Pi, using an MMDVM, which is a multi-mode digital voice modem. And it's a hat that sits on top of the Raspberry Pi. And interestingly enough, hat is not just a cute name, it actually has a meaning. And hardware attached on top, you know, leave it to the geeks to come up with all these cool things. Software, it supports it as either Pi-Star or WPSD. And the traditional hotspot, as you see here, does allow for cross-moding from YSF, which is Yaesu System Fusion, to DMR, or vice versa. But it does not allow you to cross-mode to Dstar, okay? No Dstar cross-mode. And what I'm showing here is just kind of representative. The radio that I'm showing there is an ID50, and that's what this is right here. So entry-level Dstar radio is $500. Okay. That's $100 more than it was last year. ICOM went up pretty high right after the first of the year. So that's the reason we're having this discussion. There are other ways to go about this. Now, I do want to do a shameless plug here, and that's on September the 26th. I'm teaching a hotspot class. So I'm going to provide all of the hardware. All you'll need is a laptop and an SD card, and we're up to 8 people. And we're going to go over configuring a YSF hotspot, and then I'll go over DMR and Dstar as well. So we'll talk about a few things. And to tag on to John with his Linux, in November, I'm teaching a VMware class. So if you want to run VMware and run Linux and Windows at the same time, sign up for the class. I'll show you how it all works. Okay? So
it's only $10.
it's only $10. That's right. It's only $10. And then you have to listen to me. That might be the worst thing.
Question before you move off of those hotspots, Zoom spots or whatever. Recently, I had one that would not enable. And I found with the help of another ham, Terry down in Virginia Beach, it was messed up hard and
The SD card was corrupted.
So if anybody has that happen to them, you could do all the tricks you want to, but may as well check that card.
That is true. Yeah, if you don't buy a good one, then sometimes it can corrupt, but even the good ones will corrupt.
I just want to say something quick.
No, that's fair. Thank you very much. I can't even, all this stuff on the screen. What we're going to talk about right now is a piece of software called Blue DV. A lot of people may be familiar with it, but I'm introducing it right now because some of the other items we're going to discuss after this depend on Blue DV as a way to use the digital modes. And it is written by, I'm going to murder his name, but David Rutendorst. PA7LIM. He's been around at least as long as I've been a ham, the last 3 years. And there's his website. He's also a creator of Doozy and Peanut. He's got some really interesting names for his software, but they do indeed work. We'll cover Doozy and Peanut a little bit later. There is a version for Android, but I'm not going to talk about the Android version because it requires a special module Bluetooth module to get into the Android version, but, I think I may have it in my little bucket over there. And there's a lot of support for Blue DV on YouTube. Just about any time you see modems or any of that type of thing where you can use Blue DV, a lot of people, there's a lot of good information out there on YouTube for that. So the first way we can do this is something I worked with Will Jackson, is that you can use a simple MMDVM card hat and plug it onto a serial. This is basically a TTL device here. So you plug that on top, you use a micro USB cable to your computer, fire up Blue DV, configure your COM port, voila. You still need a radio. But for about $50, depending on where you get it, you could be up and running with a modem pretty quick. It's not fancy, but it works. And I've done this multiple times. I used to carry one of these when I traveled. Still no cross mode capability. So for every mode that you want to use in Blue DV, you still need a digital radio for that mode. Okay. But I am saying that this is a way that if you had a Dstar radio, you could get onto the reflectors at home through your computer. And I can demo this after the presentation if anybody wanted to see that. If anybody has questions, you just raise your hand and we'll talk about it. Now, these are getting into some specific things, but again, we're talking about Dstar. So there's this program called Doozy. And Doozy is an application written specific for Dstar. So if you own one of these radios, you can actually put the radios into terminal mode, and you have the ability to directly plug in as a COM port and connect to the reflectors using the Doozy software. Again, it only does Dstar, but it actually works very well. I've done this with with my ID52. I don't have a 705 yet, but I have all the other radios and they all work.
You mean an ICOM radio that does not have the Dstar option? You can plug that into the COM port and use Doozy instead of the option for Dstar?
No, you still have to, right now, that's the only radios it supports. So these are all radios that do have Dstar built into them. That's correct.
Yeah, the problem with that is there's a copyrighted codec that the Dstar protocol is based on, and the owner of the copyright does not allow people to, it's not freeware. There's this codec, I can't remember who owns it.
JRRL.
Is that who it is?
Yeah.
But anyway, some of the most ICOM radios and some of these devices have that codec in firmware in a chip. This is a chip that costs, well, it's a USB stick that costs $100. It's called a thumb DV. It's got the licensed copyrighted codec in it. You can plug this into any computer and you're on Dstar, you're on DMR, you're on All-Star, all the modes that he talked about using the Blue DV software that Michael just showed on the previous screen. So if you need the free software from Blue DV, but this will get you on all the digital modes on a computer. You can't walk around a Hamfest and talk to your buddies on your laptop, very conveniently with that. It's not like a HT you put in your pocket, but if you're traveling, I know a little about how to use this, and places that they won't let you take an HT. So this is another option using that Blue DV software that's on the screen there. And I've got a laptop. When Michael's finished, we'll break this out and set it up on a table, and you can see it in action if you want. But that's what goes with the Blue DV software.
Yeah, the nice thing about Blue DV, if you look at the screenshot on the left, that's all the configuration. One side of that is to deal with the COM port. Once the middle area is kind of configuring the DMR, the Brandmeister, the connections to the digital servers, And then the right side of it is for, if you use sticks like that, and there's some other devices I'm gonna show that you configure here that does not require the radio. The Ambi server is there. That chip, his dongle has an Ambi server in it, so it allows you to not have to have the radio. Yeah, JRRL, Japan Radio Relay League is who owns and holds and keeps all of that. M17, anybody's heard of that? It's the ham-only protocol that was developed, and it's still being developed. Well, they created a radio with CSI that was going to, they were going to have all the modes available in it, including M17. They were going to put Dstar in it. It's $100 radio. Dstar was going to add another $600 for the licensing and the royalties for doing that. So it will not come out with Dstar. So that's part of the reason these radios cost a little bit more. Well, they don't cost a little bit more. They're expensive, but I don't know. They're pretty well made too. So I'll give them that. So doozies for just these radios, but there is one for the TH75, the D75. That's called DV Connect, Blue DV Connect.
That's a D75 there. Kenwood's official version of a Dstar and analog radio. It's ICOM's competition to the ID52. It's a D75.
So this one allows you to connect Bluetooth to your laptop, so you don't have to have a cable to it if you have a D75. Again, these are very specific applications specific to Dstar, but I've actually done this with this app and this is an Android based app, so you could walk around a Hamfest and do that with, if you wanted to. Most of the apps that we're going to talk about are either Windows based or Android based or both. A few may have some iOS or Linux, but most are Android or Windows. Okay, so this is a Zoom spot, and of course it's laying over there, but it looks like that. It is a dongle that you would plug in, not unlike this, okay? It would be this, but in this form. You still need a radio. Still does not allow cross moding, okay? But it can be used as an MMDVM into a Raspberry Pi, so you don't need the hat. You could just plug this into the front of the Raspberry Pi. This would act as the MMDVM because there's a choice in most WPSD and Pi-Star both that you can use this device as the radio, as the modem for the Raspberry Pi. So you could use it at home and then pull it out, take it with you and go somewhere. If you're traveling and wanted to do that, and then you would use Blue DV to use it once you got out and away from the house. Still need a radio, okay? But it is a cool option. Now we're going to get into the non-radio methods, and Win has a this is called a Shark.
This is the form factor we're talking about. It's compared to a deck of cards almost, it's a whole thing right here in one little plastic case.
It's called a Shark M1KE. They call it the mic. Okay, it's made in Estonia. All the Shark RF products are made in Estonia. It has a lithium battery, so it's good for about 30 hours. It's a radio and a hotspot, if you will, all in one. So no radio is required. It's self-contained. This is top of the line. There is no competitor to this at this point. There's no competitor to this. And so it supports all the popular digital modes. So your YSF, your DMR, Dstar. But it also adds Echolink and All-Star and APRS. So there are other modes that you can use. So I'm pretty sure All-Star, I don't have one, but I'm pretty sure All-Star is using the web transceiver capability that, has been set up by the, All-Star Link guys to do that with. And I think Lynn was gonna do a demo, but I don't think that the demos will, come up and talk to us after we get done, okay? Because, it does require the internet, so that is, or an internet connection through your phone or whatever. But he has fought that for an hour and still hasn't been able to get
I
through.
accidentally deleted one of my profiles while I was playing with the radio. Should have left it alone, but it can be fixed.
So it's all good, it's all good, but this is a great, this is a great, thing. I've actually, when I listened to a lot to 30 Charlie, but also listened to, a lot of, unfortunately, I listened to a lot of DMR too. Talk Group 91, there's just, it'll beat you up after a time, but Talk Group, 30 Charlie, it seems to be more popular amongst Dstar users. I will say that, but the audio is pristine. It is very awesome audio that comes from it just sounds like they're right there beside you. It's just pristine. So they did a good job. So what I did is I tried to put something together here that says, okay, the M1KE is $400. And that was when I put this together, that's what the cost was, but it is based on exchange rate. Okay, so it's going to fluctuate a little bit, from Estonia. They're using euros, so it does go up and down a little. But if you take the traditional setup where you have in this case, we're going to use a duplex MMDVM, and these were prices I got off Amazon. These are all new prices. Raspberry Pi 3, a case for it, the power supply, a card, a Baofeng, because the Baofeng is the least expensive radio at this case that can cross mode. So you can use a DMR to cross mode to YSF and back, right? And then an Icon 58, which gives you the Dstar capability because we can't cross mode here. You're at $725, real dollars. Now, yes, you can mitigate some of this if you buy used, but you've got $325 to make up, and I don't think you can make that up in a used configuration. So if you've not invested into the digital modes, the M1KE makes a lot of sense. Is where I'm going with this, so it depends on how enthusiastic you are to get into the digital modes, but that just cost to cost, you're going to see that is actually a pound for pound, a good way to look at this. Questions, concerns?
How's the comparison of Dstar audio to DMR?
Well, that is a loaded question. To my ears, I'm going to give you my personal opinion. Dstar by far, to me, sounds better than all of them. But there's another person that would argue just the opposite. I just find that Dstar's audio has less artifacts. It just DMR and YSF can especially leave a little artifacts that still have that kind of robotic, even in a good situation, they still kind of have a tinge of robotic sound to them, but Dstar to me has always been the clearest of all the modes.
So let me load the question another way, playing with the digital modes, DMR, Dstar, and Wires X, haven't played with that. For a new ham coming in, the pros and cons of one, is it just, hey, you want to just play with Dstar? No, I did put DMR together and I've got the hotspot and went to Brandmeister and, I don't get on the radio with me, but I made it happen.
That's correct.
So I guess the question, if a new person's coming in, I guess it would be the prices. $700 versus a $79 DMR radio bullpen, right?
Yeah, so again, that's a great question, but it has a lot of baggage with the answer. So The easiest mode by far is YSF.
Am I saying wires X or what?
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, a system fusion, a wired, Yaesu system fusion, because there's very little programming you have to do. You just have to be able to enable the digital mode. You don't have to register it. You just, your call sign is, your registration.
There's a wires X handheld unit.
Yeah, FT70.
Okay.
FT70 is $180,
Okay.
brand new. And you can find these on, used for $120, $130 on that.
Well, one of the big factors is if you want to use it as a traditional handy-talkie, do you have a repeater in your area that supports that digital mode? So if you don't live within range of a Dstar repeater, why buy a $500 radio?
Well, we're very fortunate we have.
We got it all. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
the reason we don't have any money.
Yeah.
We got it all.
But there are ways to.
But DMR, to your point, DMR does provide the least expensive radios, but it provides the highest learning curve to be able to get the programming done, right?
Yeah.
So it's not for the faint of heart. So I gravitated to DMR. I didn't have a problem, but there's a lot of people that do. So that learning curve, and Dstar kind of is in the middle.
Okay.
You know, there's some little things with DMR that you have to be aware of, especially when you create a repeater for your hotspot, or it depends on how you want to go about it. But just configuring the software and getting things set up, the repeaters near me, you know, functionality to be able to import the CSV files and do all of that. Not hard. You just have to do it to learn it. So, you know, I've said this 1,000 times and I'll say it 1,000 more. I had a professor in college said, when you don't understand something, it can be simply awful, but once you learn, it becomes awfully simple. So a lot of the goal in amateur radio is turning that what seems simply awful over into something that's awfully simple. So at least that's been my goal. Now, when he can hold his up, I'll leave mine where it is. But next thing we're going to talk about is another RARC RF product called the OpenSpot 4 Pro.
This is even smaller than the M1KE. This is another little gadget from Estonia.
Yeah, so it's a $320 unit. All right. It does have a 30-hour battery, basically same battery I think that they have. The M1KE doesn't need to do cross moding because it's all built in, okay? And the radio is built in. Everything that you need is built in. So with the OpenSpot, you still need a radio. But what's nice about the OpenSpot is it has cross mode capability for every mode. So if everything goes right, I'm going to show you that I'm going to cross mode. I'm going to bring it up and I'm going to be on Dstar. If
you know, can I, you know, the cross mode, why would I be cross mode? I hear about it that, you know, it's like 2 meters down the, you know, what, 440, you know, back in the day.
No, we're talking about digital cross mode.
Right, so we're going to cross mode from Dstar to DMR. The question is, why am I want to doing that?
So you don't have to buy 3 radios. You could just have one single radio and do all the modes.
Yeah. Trying to understand.
Yeah. So the whole idea of cross moding is that, again, you don't have to, if all I own was a FT70 with an OpenSpot 4 Pro, I can get on Dstar. I can also work DMR.
Terminology from me. I'm talking about people that are on 2 meters and.
No, we're talking about Dstar today. We're talking.
No. Because I'm trying to get my mind around where they're on they're on 2 meters and they went to 440. What you're talking about is that the radio can do all the different modes. You're not going from DMR to Dstar in your communication.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
That's what we're talking
Yeah, the radio doesn't do it. The hotspot will.
Gotcha, but you're actually talking on Dstar and then crossing on the DMR.
That is correct. So
Okay,
if I get this right, I'm going to go out, C4 FM
right.
to the device, and it's going to convert that to Dstar and connect to connector, 30 charter.
It's not a crossband, it's a dynamic mode converter.
Well, don't take this wrong, but, we're throwing out terms, CSF. I don't know if everybody knows the terms that are being used. And I'm pulling it back from the cloud, I understand, but when we start using acronyms, I don't want to lose people.
Talk to my class and I'll teach you.
Yeah.
So it has to be one of the digital modes you go in with, it can't be an analog, right?
That is correct. In the case of the Open Spot 4 Pro, it has to be a digital mode to another digital mode. Go ahead.
They advertise some hotspots that have two antennas and they talk about, that gives me the feeling that they're dual channel or something like that.
Yeah, first come to my class. Second is that the difference is a single antenna means it's a simplex board, okay? So when you configure it, you only need a simplex frequency to use it with. Okay. But DMR is only limited to one time slot. If you have a duplex, it doesn't matter to the other modes, but DMR allows you then to use both time slots. Again, it's kind of out to the context of this meeting today to go into what the DMR is and all that. The advantage is that on DMR for the duplex hotspot. For the other modes, makes no difference. Yes.
Very quick. The Sharp RF that you have on the board now through a DM1701, right? One without both inexpensive DMR would be able to speak to YSF or Dstar or DMR directly. You could talk to any of those modems. Is that right?
That is correct.
Can you do that through iStar driven duplex hotspot?
You can do with the duplex or a simplex hotspot, the traditional ones. You can only cross mode from DMR to YSF or YSF to DMR. There is no cross mode capabilities for Dstar. Yeah, so Dstar, you have to use one of these devices. In fact, to be fair, this is the only device that will do cross moding. In fact, RARC RF only sells two devices now, the mic and the OpenSpot 4 Pro. They had one called the OpenSpot 4, and it would do it all, but it would not cross mode to Dstar. And I guess it just wasn't popular enough, so they quit selling it. But this is a very nice unit. So you don't have to use a radio either. You can use an app that's on the phone. Don't worry, it's here. They have an app for the phone, and there's an app for the PC. So I'm going to see if we're going to be able to get this done here. Bear with me. Yes, that is my desktop. I have a lot of stuff.
It looks like you got a few spaces left there.
Yeah, at least, well, at one time I put them all in folders and then I couldn't figure out where everything was. So I just decided to leave it alone. Lay it all out.
Let me see, national broadcasting.
Why it didn't,
Here we go. All right, so right now, I am connected to um, 30 Charlie using Dstar. I'm going to see. Okay, so I just keyed up. And you saw the top line there, right here is my keying up. All right. I was hoping there'd be a little bit of traffic. Of course, there's not.
Talk to you from across the room, but by way of the internet.
Yeah, I'm on low anyway. All right, so we've got traffic. But nothing coming through here. Which is okay, that's not what I want. Right now, I'm connected to the Dstar radio. So what I'm gonna do is show how easy it is to cross mode. So there's a couple ways to do this, but the way that it's recommended is to go into this quick start, quick setup deal. So it's gonna say, what radio are you using? So in this case, I'm using a C4 FM radio, which is System Fusion. I got my frequency. Now, where do you want to go? Which mode do you want to go to? Well, in this case, I want to go to reflectors, which is Dstar. And right now, I'm sorry, can you see that all right? Reflector 30 Charlie is set up. Now, if everything goes right, let me turn the volume up.
Right, that's the R030 Charlie.
Now now it's talking to me through the C4 FM. And it won't be coming through Dstar. It was that simple. So I just keyed up, and it's a lot of words over here, but basically it's saying that I use C4 FM to get into Dstar. And if I want to go back, it's just as simple as going back to here. So they made this unit really, really simple to use. So
let's see, I'm connected to the local Dstar repeater in a Dstar mode on a Dstar radio. He's on a P2 System Fusion radio. I'm gonna call him, and again, we're not talking simplex, and if he didn't have that hotspot to do the translation between the two digital modes, you wouldn't hear anything. But let's see if I can hit him and he can hear me. KN4VA from
W4FJG.
this is KN4VA.
You sound good, Michael.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you for that chat.
W4WIN Cleveland.
Now, this is picking it up because it's hearing the frequency, it's catching the transmission, but there's no audio coming through here. It's all coming through this C4 FM radio.
So he was on a System Fusion radio making a Dstar contact by virtue of that hotspot that did the translation for us. Now, there were probably about 800 people that heard that conversation because we were linked to a very active reflector.
Sorry, Charles.
Yeah, so.
Go ahead.
What was the lady inside the box talking about?
Hang on. Okay, I just had to turn that off. Go ahead.
What was the young lady in the transceiver box saying after he transmitted and you heard his voice?
What it is every time I keyed up, it was giving him my information.
It reads out the call sign that it hears on the screen. So every time you transmit with a digital mode, it sends you a call sign. I've got this set up to turn on audio announcements, so the call sign. So if I'm in the car and it's laying on the seat and I can't see who it was, when you key your microphone, it'll say who just transmitted in a voice announcement.
If you know who that,
Yeah, you can turn it off. Yeah,
if you know who that is, can you interrupt that?
Yeah, wait a minute.
Before it finishes?
Yeah, you can talk over the voice announcement, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so with you two on a radio and you're not seeing each other, you won't know that the other person is on Fusion and the other one's on Dstar, is that correct?
That's right.
That is correct. Yeah, what you didn't see is his call sign came up here as well. So I saw who it was. It just doesn't have the built-in announcement capability that Dstar has. So if you were on the DMR radio doing this, you would see his call sign come up and he would see the DMR, he would see the call sign come up or announce, because you can't turn the announcements off sometimes, I think, but go ahead.
Sometimes I monitor the D-Star, and there's this one particular fellow that comes on there that sounds like he's over deviating all the time. You can't understand what he's saying. Has anybody ever tried to clarify to him that he needs to cut something back?
Well, I haven't heard him.
I have.
Okay.
I know who you're talking about. There's a couple of people that are just a little challenged. They don't.
I think it may be over in Europe too. I'm not sure though.
Well, there's one up in New England somewhere that I hear, W1, that has problems. So
I think that's who was on at W1VW or something like that. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, he was very muffled.
Yeah.
On these devices, there's a microphone. It's a tiny little pinhole in here. But if you're holding your finger over the microphone when you're pushing the button talk switch, it doesn't work very well.
Yeah, we want to talk about these a little bit more after the meeting. We can certainly converse on this a little bit more. But the thing is that the software, and I won't demo here, but I can use the Windows app or even the phone app, and it didn't need the radio. I can talk directly to Dstar from the mobile or the so if you wanted to travel really light, all you need is this and your computer or your phone, and you're talking on the different modes. So it does give you a lot of flexibility, radio or the app or whatever. It kind of gives you, and the software is available for all of the operating systems. So that's another nice thing. So you have Linux, Mac, and Windows, Android, and iOS. So they kind of covered all the bases for us. So we did the demo. Any more questions, concerns?
How much is the app for the phone?
There's no cost for the apps. Yeah, the apps are free. In fact, you can't even really set one up until you have the initial app. So all of that's free. And all of the updates, all the firmware updates and everything are all free at this point. So once you buy it, you don't really have to spend any more money if you don't. You know, you could buy this. This is another option I could have put up with the M1KE that for $320, if you didn't want to use a radio, you could still use the OpenSpot 4 Pro without any radio at $320. So it even brings your cost down a little bit more. I've used it in all configurations and it works fine. You may have to set up your mic gain a little bit, but other than that, or a headset, I use it with a headset and I've never had a problem with the headset. Okay, so another stick, the one that Win has is the one that's on the right there, but the DD Mega stick is a very similar to that Northwest. Yours is Northwest. Is the Northwest digital radio USB dongle. It's not available anymore, but you can every now and then catch those on the QRZ or one of the swap places to pick these up. Again, you plug this in, you configure Blue DV as an Ambi server, and you do not need a radio. So for $110, again, you need a radio, you need a computer that you would lug around. But if you're just sitting at home, it's an easy way to use this. I don't believe this can be used as an MDVM, but I haven't checked to make sure. But both of those use the that Ambi 3000 vocoder chip, which is kind of the magic sauce that makes everything work without a radio. Another non-radio unit, I have one over there, is called the DB Mega, Globetrotter. And again, it's an uses an AMBI 3000 chip. It allows you to connect the device serially to your computer to use Blue DV. Or like I use in my house, I set it up on the Wi-Fi. It's set in somewhere that I usually can't find it when I want it. And all I need is 5-volt power to it, and it's serving the whole house. So everywhere I am, if I want to fire up the Blue DV and get on to one of the modes, you're ready to go. So it does have the capability to do Wi-Fi and a serial connection. So if you travel, it makes it nice as well. It's a nice little package. We'll talk about Peanut because it may come up, but Peanut's a kind of a quirky little application. It does support Windows and Android, but you have to register with him to get this login code. And then you have to be registered with Dstar and DMR. It verifies that you have both of those certifications, if you will. And there's no way to change any of the top groups or anything that's in there. So you use what he has. It works very well. It doesn't even require, it actually requires no chip or anything. It works on its own. But if you like Asia or Europe, you're good to go. But there's not much US. You can't go in and say, I want to talk about Reflector 30 Charlie. Or I want to talk about a YSF top group. It's just not there. It's kind of, I think there's a way you can send him information that says, I really want this in here, and maybe he'll put it in, but it's very controlled. But it does work. It really does. But you got to take what's given to you there. So I've used it to play with it, but other than that, I don't really do much with it. We'll get into some interesting stuff here, but for your Android phone, there is this application called Dstar. Now, Dstar has been around for a while, since about 2018. In 2022, this gentleman here, VU3LBO, updated this to what's called Dstar DMR. And it's an application that will run on an Android phone. And I didn't believe, oh, that's not good. We have plugins up here.
Yeah.
I thought I saw it. Yeah. Sorry about that. Is that gonna make it? Yeah. All right. Resuscitate. All right, so this is an Android application that allows you to get onto the digital modes. In fact, here you can see I've got a screenshot on the first one on the left. I'm actually connected to Talk Group 91 on DMR. The next one I'm connected to Talk Group. I'm sorry, Reflector 30 Charlie on Dstar. I can demo that if anybody wants to see it. Pretty easy to set up, but it's hard to find. So if you have interest in Dstar and you have an Android phone that's Android 8 or better, okay? Probably most everybody. I'm actually at 9, so I'm right on the edge. Send me an email, get a hold of me, and I will send you a paper that I wrote to how to find it, because it's not available on the Play Store. The one that you want is not available on the Play Store. It's an APK file that you have to download and install. So it's a very manual install, but it works very well, and I can demo it here. I can help you get it set up. I've helped quite a few people get this set up But again, no radios required. You can use this anywhere, anytime, as long as you've got internet, as long as you've got the internet. Hey, did it lock up on me? Oh. We're almost done. And now here's another device. Sometimes you see this on, for sale as well. This is an excellent device. It's very much like that, DV Mega Globetrotter. The difference between these two units is that this one adds Ethernet, hardwired Ethernet capability. So you have serial Wi-Fi and hardware Ethernet. This thing's been with me in a ton of places because it's so easy to set up. Again, it uses an AMBI 3000 chip. It doesn't require the radio, and it works very, very well. With that, we've covered a plethora of stuff. Obviously, that any of those we could have gone into a deep dive with, and unfortunately, it just doesn't. We don't have the time to do that. But as you can see, there's a lot of ways to get connected to Dstar. And some don't require having to spend $500 to get a $500 radio just to get started. So that's all I have, unless there's more questions or concerns, or don't throw tomatoes because people might like to have it. You want me to cut this off or just leave it? Okay.
That's good.
I'm trying.
You go in there to the club's website, sign up for their classes for this fall. We have a few things left, a few boxes. Like I said, it's not coming back. It's going, when it leaves here, it's going to go to recycling. So look like we did pretty good. You know, all the donations that found a new home. And there'll be other estates. You know, Dan is working on an estate, and there's another estate that probably we'll be looking at in October. The widows that waited. Tom may get with them in September, and there'll be one more estate. Just and we could use one more person because it was a lot of work for Tom. It comes in waves, of course, so if one you would be interested in helping with the estates, let us know, and we can spread the work out a little bit and make it a little bit easier. But thank you for your interest and thank you for your donations. Yes, sir.
All right, my best friend said, we looked at a, for K4 ADVs, any interest if anybody doing?
Butch, yes. Yeah, I mentioned earlier, Silent Key. Do we remember him? He's a member of the club. He will come here, and also he would be at the McDonald's at the meeting for the board meeting at McDonald's here. Thank you. Recognizing that. Well, thank you. I look forward to the program next week.
What is the program, anybody? Do you remember?
Pardon?
What is the program next month? Do you remember?
It's Linux. It'll be the Linux program.
Well, that's right. I keep forgetting, John, I heard.
Yes.
All right.